Hello, my beautiful listeners. My name is Gato, the host of Lonely Corner Radio. Before we begin in this new episode, I would like to put out a trigger warning. The topics I'm about to dive in are rather dark and gruesome. I will be discussing a brief history of internet gore shock sites, as well as personal experiences with coming across these said sites. While I will not show video nor include audio of these said videos, I will give brief descriptions of a few. If discussions such as abuse, murder, gore are too much for you, I recommend skipping this week's episode. And if you do, no worries. I'll see you next week with something more light to the heart. Without further ado, I welcome you all to the program. Enjoy. It is no secret that the world is a dark place. It can't be beautiful without a doubt. I'm just stating facts. Nature, like the trees, the ocean, and the animals that roam freely on this earth, are the natural blessings in this lifetime. The life you are given is at random, and then before you know it, it's over. The world continues. It spirals. In 2009, we were shown an apocalyptic movie called 2012. And I was scared shitless as a little middle school bitch. And I remember one day I was talking about this said anxiety to someone who was a grade above me. And they spat the realest line I've ever heard. And it goes like this: the world ends every day. It's just not your world yet. Cannot say that it cured my anxiety, but it definitely put a wild pause on it for a hot minute. At that time, MySpace was still going on and strong, and all those posts about the world ending in that said time wasn't shit to me at that moment. And why should it? Why believe everything you hear when you can see it to believe it? And unfortunately, I'm one to be proven to. I call bullshit on a lot of things that I have come across in my lifetime. However, once I see it, I'll shut the fuck up about it. That's a promise. I'm 24, in case y'all didn't know. Scorpio. So growing up in the 2000s, I've seen such a shift in the culture, and the world was advancing in ways so quickly, right? Especially technology. It was changing practically every day. It was so hard to keep up, especially being raised by the older generations. Not a lot of parents knew how to navigate or get around the internet and such. So you were left, you, the child, the teen, or the young adult, were left to sort of figure it out. And you learned very quickly about these crazy websites that would pop up back in the day. And I know y'all know exactly what I'm talking about. In the olden days, the builds of the internet were simple at first. Websites popping up here and there, and lo and behold, gore sites came on the scene. And I'm talking rotten.com. I'm talking LiveLeak, right? Those types of sites. Those or Best Gore too. God damn. Sites like those where they would post photos and videos of people's deaths caught on camera, whether that it would be like a CCTV or if someone were to record it by themselves. I remember reading about Rotten back in the day because they allegedly posted the photo of Princess Diana's death scene, the one, under the tunnel. And I think photos of people's bodies during the aftermath of 9/11. It was a crazy, brutal time. What was once nightmare content was another's information site. During the 2000s, the war in Iraq took place shortly after 9/11. And many other sites, just like Rotten, but more particularly with LiveLeak. Many people would use sites such as LiveLeak for updates of the war. Journalists back in those times would use those photos as sources when writing their articles because it was one of the few sites that were showing active updates of what was really going on in the battlefield. And then there was people like me, the youngins, who ended up being unfortunately exposed to it on accident. These types of sites, right? The Wild West of the internet. And even to this day, but I'm gonna talk about the past for a minute. Back in those days, You could look up something really random on the internet and end up with something completely different, right? For example, one of the first shocking videos that I've seen in my time, I remember some kid in school was telling me, oh, there's this cool video of a steak that can do tricks, and me being young, dumb, and naive, I thought that was the funniest shit ever, and I just got to see it. What's it called? Oh, I'll show you. And then this person typed in on this search thing, it's called meat spin, and man, did that meat spin. So what that one is, and I'm pretty sure I'm like ringing bells in people's heads. It's a scene. It's like a cut scene of a gay porn like movie, and I don't know the exact name of the position. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but it's when one person's on top of the other. Wait, the bottom is on top, but they're not looking your direction. I think it's cowboy or reverse cowboy, right? Yeah, he's getting fucked in the ass, and the guy on top is kind of like semi-erect, like a chub, and it's like his meat is spinning counterclockwise, and the background of the song was Spin Me Like a Record Player Baby. That was just it. The whole gag of it was just so you could be like, oh, it's the steak spin, or it's like, oh, it's a weird name, it's a really random name, what the fuck? And then you look at it, and before you know it, you're getting exposed to gay porn. Like, that was just the gag of it. That was the gist of it, you know what I mean? So that kid, man, that kid was an asshole, man. Fuck you. Oh man, there's so many more, and I know that one isn't particularly like a gore, like a murder or like in that kind of thing, but that was just one of the few videos that people were exposed to, right? It was shocking. It was so shocking, and it was just really, really wild, man. There's also another one. And I was reminded of this today, actually. I was on TikTok and someone posted this. It wasn't the video itself, but it was a snippet of the song that they put in the background of this one of Two Girls in One Cup. That one, you learn so much in one day, I'll tell you that. Two Girls, One Cup. It was one of those videos back in the day where people were just like, hey man, there's this like crazy video. It's so disgusting. I bet you can't watch it. Or just like that asshole I was telling you about with Meat Spin. Hey dude, there's this cool video. You want to see it? And no one's dying, like I said, by the way. Like, that's the fucked up thing about it. These two women are like making out with each other, but like then it cuts to like one of them shitting in a cup, and then they're eating it, and then they're like puking on each other, and it was just that. But I thought like, well, what the fuck, that's fucking disgusting, that's crazy, what the fuck. I don't know, like when you're a kid, like it's not, I don't know, like I was shook, but I wasn't as shook as I am now. Like now my stomach's kind of turning, I'm not gonna lie. But when you're a kid, you don't have the same shock absorption as you do now, right? You see, these kinds of sites, although they were relatively easy to find, it was on like different websites. It was on a different domains, right? So you would think with that information that you can just go on surface level internet websites like Facebook, for example, right? Facebook, the social media website. I can't say that it's innocent because in my biased opinion, I think that social media is kind of evil. Like there's studies and shit, and we'll see it like more like 10-20 years from now. We'll see the studies and shit. It's not looking okay, I'll tell you that. When you're on those sites, you're thinking of, okay, I just want to post and see what my family and friends are up to. That's pretty much that. And I like to consider it to be a boomer site, because at this point most people have deleted it and moved on, or they'll have it. If you use it regularly, you're a boomer. Kidding. When you're on a website such as that, you look at photos of your family and your friends, and you just, post statuses and that sort of thing. And I remember one time I was a freshman in high school, and I remember just scrolling through at night and on Facebook, and I remember looking at this. It was just a sequence of like memes, right? So like 2011, 2012. So you know I'm talking about the fucking the epic, the you mad memes, right? So looking at those, laughing, having a good time, seeing photos of my friends posted up, emo scene kids, all that kind of thing. And then I ended up seeing this fucked up video. It was of a cartel chainsaw like execution, right? So it's these two dudes against the wall and another man with a chainsaw. And from what I've heard from this video, was that it was like a cartel execution. So the man with the chainsaw is just cutting these men's heads off. And it was just there. You know what I mean? Like, it was just... The thing with these, what makes it more shocking is, you know, not just the gore itself, but it's also because of how accessible these kinds of videos can be. You are on a site, and then you just end up seeing some shit like that. Man, let me tell you, I did not sleep well that night. I went to school. I had to essentially kind of just lose my mind for a minute, and then I had to go to school the next day. It was fucking insane. I don't know how I did it. I don't know how we as back in those times, I don't know how we did it, but we did it. Back in the times of YouTube in the Wild West, there was also videos such as that. You were able to see snippets of Two Girls and One Cup and those videos of that sort, right? Like, it was pretty out there, YouTube, back in those times. And we all know what we're talking about. You get to watch anime for free on there. So you get to see a bunch of cool, like, animes that you never heard of, and you get to catch up on them, because back in those times, like, copyright was there, but it was a pretty, like, low level. So you were able to see, like, all the cool shows, listen to music and all that sort of thing. And then I remember when I was a sophomore in high school, these people were just watching, you know, like in school, like, it's your computer is hooked up to a projector, like the teacher's computer. So it was during lunch, and we were able to listen to music and watch music videos during our break. And I remember the teacher stepped out for a minute, and then someone, like, hops on the computer and was like, "Hey, wait, you want to see something fucked up?" And it was this grainy video. Okay, listen, I freak the fuck out if I ever see a video and it's super fucking grainy, because it reminds me of this type of bullshit, right? So in this video, it's this gentleman is just on top of a cliff, and under it is water. They're like at the side of a beach or something of that sort, and he jumps off, does a spin, lands in the water, and then he goes back up, does it again, but misses and hits like one of the rocks or something like that, if I remember correctly. But it cuts off, and it goes into a scene where they are in a hospital, and it shows the guy's face split in half, literally split in half, and it's like in between like his eyes, so you can just see like the carnage on the inside of a person's face, like the anatomy of a person's face. And the doctor's kind of like just holding his head, and he's not decapitated, right? Like, I think he was still alive before he passed away, something of that sort. But he was examining this man's head, and it was just kind of like talking, and it just cuts off to that, and that shit fucked me up, dude. Fuck, dude, man. And it really makes you think, right? Like, does this kind of thing do something to a person's psyche? And yes, I would say yes. When people think of PTSD, people will think of war veterans coming back, and it's a real thing, most definitely. PTSD is a very common thing amongst people who have served in the military, but it can also happen to any person. They don't have to necessarily go or see combat. It could be a person surviving a home invasion, or a person seeing their loved one die in front of them, and that sort of, you know what I mean? However, what I have read and what I have noticed is that people are not the same when they see these types of videos. And this is just like the surface. Like, I'm just scratching the surface. There are a lot more fucked up videos out there. You just wish you could forget. Like, if I live the rest of my life knowing that I've never seen these types of videos, I would be fine. I would be at peace. Nobody needs to stumble upon these things. No one needs to watch this. Yes, curiosity will get the best of you. Curiosity does not kill the cat. It just fucks them up for life. Okay, it's called trauma. I'll tell you that. I am under the belief that because the internet it's been around, like, it's been here, but I would like to bet that 10 to 20 years from now, we will get more accurate statistics about people's usage of the internet messing up their psyche, because I truly do believe that even a simple one clip One 30-second clip can fuck up a person's mental health for the rest of their lives. I truly do believe it. No matter how desensitized you are to horror films, these are real people. This is real life, right? Like you're here, and then another person in another part of the world is meeting their end in the most gruesome way, or they just are getting tortured or something of that sort. There's a lot of fucked up shit that happens, I'll tell you that. It's just out in the open. It's really just out in the open. I also remember in high school, a lot of bullshit's happened to me in high school. I was still in high school. Yeah, I was like a senior, I would say, junior or senior, and I was still active on Twitter and everything. And I remember I was just scrolling, and this person reposted this video, and this video was in high definition, so I thought that this was a clip of like a movie that was coming out, but this was of an ISIS execution. These people are being rounded into a shower like area, and they are being like chained up, and then these other guys are just like slicing their necks open, and they're just bleeding out. It was I keep forgetting the name of it, but they named it something with slaughterhouse, I believe, or something of that nature, and it fucked me up. It fucked me up, dude. Keep saying that. These types of issues aren't necessarily an old-timey thing. Like this types of things still happen to this day, unfortunately. There are a lot of reasons why a person will not post, but repost rather, these types of contents, and it's either because they are genuinely in shock, and they are, trying to show their companions what they have just seen. This doesn't necessarily excuse it, right? Like, you really should not be. Listen, you do what you want. You are a free person. You are allowed to do what you want, but I truly would challenge you to reconsider when sharing these types of contents, beheadings and murder and dismemberment of that sort of thing. You may be desensitized to it. You may think, oh, I've seen it all, but the person that you are sharing it to, it could fuck up their lives, dude. Don't be doing that shit. Come on, it's clowning, dude. It's clowning. But there's also edgelords out there who will use the shock factor of it to just post it more on the surface web, on the more mainstream social medias, because they just, I don't know, they're cunts. That's all I could think, that they're cunts. It was a while back in this app called TikTok. It was a short clip, but it was pretty much it was a young girl was like dancing, and then in the next scene it cuts to her head being cut off. And this is on TikTok. This is on a place where even like if your For You page is up to your liking, like if you be watching I don't know, fashion or cooking videos or that sort of ASMR, you can still run the risk of being stumbled upon these types of videos, because the way that the algorithm works, if you can make it look like it's one thing rather than the other, it can end up on anybody's For You page. I have unfortunately have seen some bullshit on TikTok. At this point I should delete it, but addiction, It was another video of these people playing soccer, and they're just kicking, presume what would be a ball in the field, and then the camera pans down and it's of a dismembered head. They're just kicking a head around. Jesus Christ, dude. Like, that's that kind of shit that just it's fucking wild, dude. It's fucking wild how edgelords will ruin fucking everything. I tell you that, man. They even in those times, like back in the day where, you would watch, or not watch, rather, you're just on any site. You're just, what I remember back in those times was the amount of edgelords that I would stumble across, because I truly do believe that it doesn't necessarily make you a socio or a psychopath, but you definitely do have an issue of some sort if you are so comfortable showing people this type of content unwillingly, tricking them into watching this sort of thing. I have so many memories of just being in school, right, where you're supposed to be safe, and you're in the computer lab, and just, the teachers can only do so much, right? It's one person with 25 to 30 kids. You can't, try that out and come back to me and tell me if you can teach in that sort of environment. You can't. the ratio is fucking outrageous. So of course when you're in the computer lab, you're gonna not be able to monitor what all the kids are watching, but that's the reality of it, right? And one edgelord can notice that. They'll just end up showing you anything. I remember it all, man. You're just trying to do your work, or you're just listening to music or whatever, and then here comes this kid, you know, sitting like a couple seats around you, just showing videos of people being beheaded and that sort of thing, people being dismembered, people's faces getting flayed and limbs being cut off and that sort of thing, man. People being brutally murdered, people, everything, dude, everything. Or it's just like, it's crazy. It's really crazy. And you know what's interesting is that a lot of people, like I said, they're not all fucked in the head when they see these types of things. It's how the brain works. It's like this sort of, like this certain mechanic where you are watching something so wild, so bizarre, right? You want to look away, but you can't. You're left in a state of shock. You're just continuously watching this sort of thing. As much as you want to turn and never look again, there's a part of you saying keep looking, because it's so unreal. It's burning in your head, right? Your imagination of whatever scenario of a execution looked like, it's being erased, and this, what you are seeing in front of you, is just what's being shown. And damn, dude, it really can mess up a person's life. And I really truly do believe that I have, well, I can't say that I have PTSD, but I have some sort of, I just have a huge distrust in the internet and the usage, and with these kinds of things that I don't know if I can call it trauma, but I can definitely say that I am more wary and aware, and I know not to, if I'm going on other websites, to, you know, kind of research on what I'm typing into the search bar and putting into my search engine and into ultimately my brain. You know what I mean? There's only so much that you can watch and do before you end up messing up with your head and everything. It's not worth it, dude. I'll tell you that. It's not worth your mental health, your psyche. I remember one of the most fucked up ones that I've seen. It was an execution cartel, I believe. But these people were really fucking up this dude to the point where they really wanted him to suffer. He was hooked onto IV needles, what I presume was adrenaline. They had his face cut off, like the skin cut off, so you saw like his bones exposed, and like his arms were cut off, and then the way that they were just laughing and everything, it was just so fucked up. I remember just thinking about it now, it makes me shake. I'm not gonna lie. That's why I have such a difficult time with this episode. I'll tell you that. I've tried recording this episode maybe like 10-15 times today because of how fucked up this video is. But point being is that life is, this life can be fucked up. This life can be brutal and cruel, and it really does. Once you see the other side, you see the positives. Right? Maybe it's you falling in love and getting married, or seeing your firstborn, or seeing your family alive and well, and then you see fucked up shit like that, and it really makes you question everything that's going on in this world. Like what the fuck, dude? Like, we human beings can be extraordinary and fucked at the same fucking time, dude. We went to the moon, but we also, not all, but we also like built institutions where people are meant to suffer in humane ways, and the world just keeps spinning and the world just keeps going, and it's so fucked up, dude. But with that all being said, if you are someone like me who you do have an endless amount, this big hunger of curiosity, and you want to learn more in life, you have this unfortunate fascination or curiosity to these types of things that I was saying, there are people out there who can just talk about it, who can describe it without showing you photos or videos, or videos rather, because there's people who will show the video but they'll blur it out because these people are on YouTube. These people are talking about these two YouTubers in particular, Plagued Moth and Disturbed Reality. I recommend checking those guys out if you, and I'm not gonna judge, right, if you have that unfortunate curiosity of, oh, like, I remember back then there was this video of this person getting his head cut off and his specific this and that and da, or you're like curious of like someone talking about it, and you're like, well, okay, I don't want to watch it, but I kind of am feeling that itch, that curiosity. There's these two YouTubers right here. There are certain clips that they will show, but it's not like down to the gritty, right? Like sometimes you'll hear people agonize, you know, like blood curdling startling screams, that sort of thing. But ultimately they describe what's going on. So if you are curious, super curious, I will be putting links of their channels down below. And is there any more I can say? There's really nothing too much more I can say other than, listen folks, this life that we are given, it is such a random thing that we are given, whether you are content with it or not. I mean, let's be real, not everybody's content with their lives. Some people go through rough patches in their life, and that is normal, that is okay. But also, life is ultimately precious, and we don't know what exactly is going to happen to us tomorrow or next week. So we can only presume and hope for the best and just be grateful for the life that we are given, and keep moving on, keep moving strong. And ultimately, I would not recommend that you go and you watch these videos. Do not look up and search these videos willingly. I am simply just stating my experiences and my opinion on what I think is a thing, and that thing is PTSD coming from the internet. I truly do believe that, who knows, maybe the statistics are gonna get updated soon, because these videos have been going on for quite some time in these past couple decades. So maybe we'll see more statistics, but I am just keeping an eye out for that, because I do believe that this can mess up a person's psyche, their mental health, their everything. So I truly do believe that it's out there. And I'm sorry I sound dead and brash. This didn't hatch out the way that I thought would, just because it does bring me back a lot of fucked up memories and such. And listen, if you are a parent and you have young kids, get them off the iPad. Get them off the iPad, get them off the phone, get them off the internet. And if they ever also do want to be on the internet, your ass better be with them, because you don't know what could they click. You don't know that. You truly have to be there and actively keep an eye out. There's only so much that parental blocks can do before they end up stumbling upon some crazy shit that's gonna mess with them, and it's not okay. It's truly not okay. Thank you all for tuning in to this episode of Lonely Corner, and like I said, do apologize for how underwhelming and how uneased that I am and unenthused I am to record this episode, but I felt like this is a very necessary topic to have discussed. And I would like to know if you have experienced something similar that I have, and what is your state of mind now? How are you feeling about it now after watching those types of videos? And that's that. Thank you all for tuning in. I hope you all take care, be kind to yourself, to others, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.